Hello friends, I'm Beatriz, your host here on Beatriz Book Nook, and today I know I'm not in my normal setup, but today I'm going to be presenting to you my R Fantasy Bingo. This is going to be the first year that I'm going to be participating in it. Last year, when I entered BookTube, I felt maybe a little bit overwhelmed by it to enter it, so because it's such a big challenge. But this year, I think I will be able to take up on the challenge. I have made my TBR, I have already a lot planned. So, just so you know, in addition to the R Fantasy Bingo challenge, I also put another challenge on top of that, and as far as I could, the books from the bingo or for the bingo needed to come out of my shelves. I have a few, actually most of the prompts I was able to make this true, so a lot of them actually have either books that I already own or books that even if I don't own them, I am excited to read them, but more than half of them are books that I already own, am in the middle of a series, or I want to read them and they are one of my top priorities for this year. Or they are upcoming in a TBR or in a month because I'll be reading them either for a book club or for whatever it might be. So without further ado, let's start on the bingo because there are 25 prompts and I have a lot to talk with you about and a lot of the books. So let's get into it, and you might see me drinking a little bit of tea. I caught a stomach bug today when I'm filming this, so I'm not feeling my best, but at least I know I can sit here, talk with you about the books, and just delve into the R Fantasy Bingo board with you all without feeling too bad on myself. So yeah, I think this is it, and without further ado, let's start with the first prompt. So let's start onto the first row, and I'm going in accordance to how they are explaining it onto the Reddit thread. So I'm going left to right, and the first one is going to be Knights and Paladins, which is one of the protagonists is a paladin or knight. For this one, I had a little bit of trouble because I don't think I have any book at the moment where my main character is going to be a knight or paladin. Due to that, I went onto the threads where the community gave some recommendations, and I saw someone referring that the series Legend Board by Tracy Dion would be a good fit. Let me know in the comments also if you think that this book is not a good fit. I will definitely try my best to change it. This is not going to be one of my first priority books, but it's one that I believe that has knights and paladins, so I'm quite excited for it, and it has been a book that I know has been translated to Portuguese, so I'm going to do my best also to get a translated copy of it. Tea break. The next one is going to be Hidden Gem, and this we are looking for a book with under 1000 ratings on Goodreads, where new release and arcs don't count from popular authors and follow the spirit of the square. So we are looking into hidden gems. So in here I looked into it. I have four possibilities, but my main one is going to be Hair of Sun and Moon by Janessa Wren. I do know that Katie and Rainy from Rainy Blue Reads and Katie from I Would Rather Be Reading, they read this book for the book club, and when I looked into Goodreads, it is a book that has less than 1000 reads, but I do also have three other options. One of them is, let me look into Goodreads because I forgot. So one of them, and I'm sorry for the difference, it's raining also outside, but one of them is Wish of the Wicked by Danielle Page. The second one is A Fate Forged in Fire by Hazel McBride, and the last one is going to be House of Blight by Maxime Martineau. All of these at the moment have less than 1000 ratings on Goodreads, being the lowest one Hair of Sun and Moon by Janessa Wren. So I'm excited. I When they read the book for the book club, I really wanted to read it with them, but I had not the possibility. So as of now, maybe I'll read it. Hopefully, I can read it. Then we are going to be going and talking about our third prompt, which is going to be published in the 80s. Read a book that was first published anytime between 1980 and 1989. For that, I know a lot of people are going to be using this book, but I'm going to be putting All's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. I know the book was published in, if I'm not wrong, 1986, so it completely fits the prompt. And also, I am not sure if it doesn't also count for hard mode, which I can't remember what I saw, but either counts or doesn't. But I am honestly okay. I don't intend to do hard mode onto this challenge, so whatever comes is whatever I like, and I will be reading for the book. The next one, we are going to be talking about a prompt that I was really happy to see, honestly, and this is a prompt in not a category but a theme that I do enjoy seeing in books, and in here we are going to be talking about the prompt for high fashion, where we are going to read a book where clothing, fashion, or fiber art are important to the plot. This can be a crafty main character or a setting where fashion itself is explored. They do recommend here Mask of Mirrors by Mia Carrick and Torn by Rovina Miller. But I have a book on my TBR for quite a long time, which is going to be Spin the Dawn by Elizabeth Lim. I read Six Crimson Cranes by her. I loved her writing style. Then I started to look into her backlist and I discovered that she has a book where seamstresses and the textile art do come in place. So when I saw this prompt, I immediately thought of this book, which is quite happy and quite nice because I want to read more of Elizabeth Lim. I just haven't finished Six Crimson Cranes, which is bad, but maybe soon, who knows. The next prompt is going to be Down with the System, and we are going to be reading here a book in which a main plot revolves around disrupting a system. For this one, I also have two possibilities. One is going to be Blood Over Bright Haven by M.L. Wang. This book has been very popular recently. Everyone has been reading it, and on the threads for the recommendations, the community was saying that this was going to be a good book for it. My second option is going to be Heavenly Tyrant by Shirin Zhao. I read the first book, which was Iron Widow. I really enjoyed it, so I'm quite happy that the second book is finally out after so much time waiting for it, but I haven't yet gotten to it, so definitely it's a good possibility in here for me to read the second book of a series that I have been waiting for so long. Now that we finished the first line, we are going to be entering our second row, and the first prompt onto the second row, it's going to be impossible places, where we are going to be reading a book set in a location that would break a physicist. The geometry, non-Euclidean, the volume bigger on the inside, the directions merely a suggestion. And for hard mode, this is the book takes at least 50% place inside, 50% place within the impossible place, but as said before, I am not intending to do the hard mode for it, so I really don't care about it at the moment. But for that, what I have is The Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence. I was quite happy when I saw on the threads once more that this book would fit for this prompt. I have both books in the collection, at least the first and the second one, and I have tried to read before this book, but I wasn't able to do so. But I finally have a possibility to read it. So definitely I cannot wait, and I know this is a book that does fit this prompt because also Danny over on Danny Doubles just recently did a video for recommendations for our bingo, and she recommended this book in there, so I do know that this will be fitting onto this prompt. The next prompt is going to be our seventh prompt, and for it we are going to be reading a book in parts, and this is to read a book that is separated into large sections within the main text. This can include things like acts, parts, days, years, and so on, but has to be just more than just the chapter breaks. For it, I do have my current project in progress, let's say like that. I am currently reading all of the books from Brandon Sanderson. I am still on the first one, but still making progress, and the second one that I'm going to be reading is going to be The Well of Ascension. I know that it is divided in parts just like the first one, and I will definitely take that book into this bingo because it is a book that I have to read, a book that I'm excited to read, and I know that it is divided in parts, so fits all good prompts and all good check boxes for me to be able to read it for the our fantasy bingo. Then we are going to go into Gods in Pantheons, which is our eighth prompt, and for it we are going to be reading a book that features divine beings. For it, I do have two possibilities. Also, I think this is going to be the last one where I have more than one possibility, but the first one is going to be The Merciless Ones by Nationality. I do know that this is a series that focuses on gods and divine beings, not typically from what we are expecting, let's say either it be the Greek mythology or Roman mythology, but just a divine being that Nationality created. And the second one we are going to, or I have the possibility if I want to read the games Gods Play. I don't really remember the name of the author, Abigail Owen. So this is going to be my second option if I don't end up reading The Merciless Ones, which I already have the book, so there is no excuses for me to not read it because I already own a physical copy of this book. When we are going to be talking about the ninth prompt, we are going to be reading Last in a Series, read the final entry in a series. I'm not going to be doing hard mode for this one, but I'm going to be counting. So we are going to be checking Girls of Faith and Fury by Natasha Nagan. This is a book that I have been putting off for quite some time. I have had it for a year now, and it is on my auto-destruct list for 2025, so I do really need to read it. Not only that, but because it's for me to finish up a series, which I am quite happy and really want to finish one. Then our 10th prompt, we are not even halfway there and this video is already chaotic, but we are going to be reading book club or read along book. In here we are going to be reading a book that was or is officially a group read on our fantasy. Every book they added it to a Goodreads shelf or onto a Google Sheet, and every book that is there counts. So I looked into it and I found that The Adventures of Amina El Sarafi do count. They have read it before, so since I have the book, I decided why not. The best possibility that I can expect, it's going to be this book. I was trying to fulfill all of the prompts with the books that I already have, so this one just came quite nicely when I saw it in there. Then let's move one row down and we are going to be going to the third row. The 11th prompt is going to be parent protagonist. Read a book where a main character has a child to take care for, and the child doesn't have to be biologically related to the character. In here I'm going to be reading Sunbringer. I do remember that our main character had like to take care of a child, and this child's god, so the white lie god. So I do believe that this fits. While I was looking into the threads for a recommendation, someone also said Godkiller works, so I do believe Sunbringer will also work, especially since we are continuing the story. And in here is I do know that there is a child character that our main character in some sort of way has to take care of. So just one more tick into the box. I have the book, it fits the prompt, so I'm happy with that. So the 12th prompt is going to be epistolary, and the book must prominently feature any of the following: diary or journal entries, letters, messages, newspaper clippings, transcripts, and so on. In here, I had two options actually. I still have two options. It's going to be either with Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands, which is the second installment in Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, or the Illuminae series by, I don't remember her name, but I have another book from her that is not that series. But yeah, there is these two possibilities. I do know that especially Emily Wilde is told and has journal entries, and Illuminae has a very different, and it's mixed media, so it's not just like plain text. We do have newspaper messages, letters, and everything that is telling us the story in Illuminae. So I do believe that both of these will fit this prompt quite nicely. Then our 13th prompt is going to be a book published in 2025, a book published for the first time in 2025, no reprints or no new editions. In here, I looked into a little bit of the books that I was excited for that are going to be releasing this year, and I just decided to go with Catabases by R.F. Kuang. It's a book that I'm excited for. I cannot wait to see what R.F. Kuang did with this book. It's coming out very, very soon, and I do know that she is one of my auto-buy authors, so what better book to put in here than her book. So our 14th prompt then is going to be author of color. Read a book written by a person of color. And here once again, unfortunately I am not very aware of the color of the authors that I purchase my books from. If the story sounds interesting, I do tend to purchase it. So it was a little bit harder for me. But then while I was navigating the threads for the recommendations, I saw someone recommending The Reformatory by Tananarive Du, which I do have the book. So it was quite an happy incident. So it's going to be my input, my book for this prompt in author of color. My next one is going to be small pressed or self-published, which is going to be read a book published by a small press, not one of the big five publishing houses or Bloomsbury, or self-published. If a formally self-published book has been picked up by a publisher, it only counts if you read it before it was picked up. So in here, I decided to go with Tastes Like Candy by Avi Tholen. This book was independently published by the author, so I decided why not. I already have the book, and I don't think I have other books that would fit this category, so I'm just happy that at least one of the books that I already own will fit into this prompt. Then our fourth row, and this is the one before the last, which is quite nice. We are going to go for biopunk, and it is read a book that focuses on biotechnology and or its consequences. In here, I do have two possibilities. So one of them is going to be The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett, and I also do have another possibility, which is going to be The Cautious Traveler's Guide to the Wastelands by Sarah Brooks. As far as I know, this also has a little bit of the biopunk vibe onto the book, which is what the prompt in here is requesting. So yeah, I just have these two books. They were and have been recommended heavily to me by Leandro over on Leandro the TBR 0 and Danny from Danny Doubles. Not only that, but they both did for their podcast, Not Reading for Content. They read The Cautious Traveler's Guide to the Wastelands, which I immediately wanted to read that book. So I don't know, I haven't read it, so it's one of the possibilities for here. Then our 17th prompt is going to be Elves and or Dwarves, which is read a book that features the classical fantasy archetypes of elves and or dwarves. They do not have to fit the classic trope, but must be either named as elves and or dwarves or be easily identified as such. For this one, I had a little bit of a struggle. I am not someone that reads a lot about elves and dwarves, so I wasn't sure of what to put onto here. But then I remembered that a series that I read, like all of the series last year, had some more installments on it, and for that I'm going to be trying to read How the King of Helfame learned to hate stories. This is going to be by Holly Black, and this is a continuation of the Cruel Prince series, which I really enjoyed, and I cannot wait to read a little bit more and maybe delve more into the book and into the story itself. The 18th prompt is going to be LGBTQIA protagonist, and it's to read a book, as the name of the prompt says, where the main character is under the LGBTQIA plus umbrella. For it, I'm going to be reading Don't Let the Forest In by Cece. I don't remember the other and can't fully see it on my 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 thing, but I think it's Cece Drews if I'm not wrong, but I will put the cover in here. I have already had this book. I have heard really a lot of people talk good about it, and I am excited for it, especially because it's like a horror slash fantasy, which we can count for this challenge, and I'm quite excited for it. Then our 19th prompt is going to be 5 SFF short stories. Any short SFF story, as long as there are 5 of them. For it, I found a collection of short stories by some authors, and we are going to be reading The Gathering Dark in here. I do know that this is a collection that has, for example, Chloe Gong, the author of This Violent Delight, which I quite enjoyed the book. As far as I'm aware, this is a horror collection of short stories about the folk, and I do really love folk stories. I do really enjoy to know a little bit more about the mythology, especially on the side of Asian mythology. So I did really think that this was going to be a really nice book for me to read for this prompt and to know a little bit more about what they say and about these short stories. I do know that there are more than 5 on here, so I cannot wait to read it. Then we are going to be entering the 20th prompt, and we are almost at the end of it, and this is going to be Stranger in a Strange Land, which is read a book that deals with being a foreigner in a new culture. The character or characters, if they are a group, must be either visiting or moving in as a minority. For it, I once again looked into the recommendations threads and decided to go for City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. The main reason I decided to go for it is because I already have the book. So I have the translated book to Portuguese. So I decided it was finally a good opportunity to put this book in one of my TBRs. Although I haven't been really doing TBRs, but I thought that this was going to be a good possibility for me to just use this book for one of the challenges that I want to partake in. So in here, the 21st prompt is going to be recycle a bingo square, use a square from a previous year 2015 to 2024, as long as it does not repeat one on the current card, as in you can't have 2 book club squares. Oh, well, technically it's not the same. But in here, the one that I decided to go for, it was published in 2023, so on here I decided to go for it because I do had a book that I really wanted to put for this challenge, and I was trying to find a way to have this book fit one of the prompts. And for it, for published in 2023, I decided to go with The Scarlet Alchemist by Kylie Lee Baker. I have this book. I purchased it kind of on a whim. I really enjoyed the cover. I think it's a beautiful cover, and I haven't read it since I've bought it, which was almost more than 1 year ago, which is not good for me. So I definitely have to pick it up anytime soon. The 22nd prompt is going to be Cozy SFF, which is cozy is up to your preferences for what you find comforting, but the genre typically features relatable characters, low stakes, minimal conflict, and a happy ending. In here, I did put down The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst, but recently I have been reading Psalm for the Wild Build, which is the first installment on the Monk and Robot series by Becky Chambers, and I am quite enjoying it. So besides having The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst, I will also have the second installment, which is A Prayer for the Crown Shine, as a possibility for the cozy prompt. Then we are going to be delving into generic title. Okay, so our 23rd prompt, we are almost at the end of it, I promise. It's going to be generic title. Read a book that has one or more of the following words in the title: blood, bone, broken, curd, dark, shadow, song, words, or throne. And in here, the plural is allowed. So because I wanted to mainly use the books that I already have onto my shelves, I decided for this one to go with Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. I think it's very fitting. It has the word sword, which is one of the words for this prompt. So yeah, why not? I didn't fully wanted to do hard mode for it, so I also don't mind that I'm not completing the hard mode in here. And the 24th prompt is going to be not a book. Do something new besides reading a book. Watch a TV show, play a game, learn how to summon a demon. Okay, maybe not the last one. Spend time with fantasy, science fiction, or horror in another format. Movies, video games, TTRPGs, board games, etc. all count. There is no rule about how many episodes of a show will count or whether or not you have to finish a video game. New is the key word here. We do not want you to play a new save on a game you have played before or to watch a new episode of a show you enjoy. You can do a whole new TTRPG or a new campaign in a system you have played before, but not a new session in a game you have been playing. The hard mode is just to write a review for what you are going to be doing, and in here I decided to go with actually a game that I found onto my library of games, which is going to be A Plague Tale: Innocence. This is, if I'm not wrong, a horror type game. I don't have much information about it. I just thought, well, I think it fits the format and what they are wanting from us. I also do think that it might have some fantasy elements to it. So this is going to be my selection for not a book. Maybe I would even try to finish the whole video game, not in one sitting, but definitely within the year. And last but definitely not least, after this big list of prompts that we have for 2025, our fantasy bingo, we are going to be doing pirates, where we have to read a book where the characters engage in piracy. For it, I decided to go with Nightweaver by R.M. Gray. I think the book has not yet come out, but I do have and do know that the book does count for this prompt, especially because our main character is a pirate and delves into piracy. If I would like, I would go for a not a seafaring or seafaring pirate, which would be, for example, an astronaut pirate or some other sort of pirate. But in here, for now I have the Night Weaver. I might change it, might not. I don't know how well I'm going to be doing with this prompt in specific, but let's hope that it's a good one. So I have reached the end of the board. I have talked and shared with you all of my 25 and maybe a little bit more possibilities for this bingo board that I'm going to be attempting on doing throughout the rest of 2025 and throughout the beginning of 2026. I think this is all that I have for today's video, friends. I'm sorry I'm not feeling very well today. The stomach bug got me completely, and yeah, this is not the best that I have feeling in quite some time, especially when giving you a new video. But I think this is all that I have for today. I hope you have a rest of a lovely day wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you all on my next video. Until then, bye friends!